Buddy, and thank you for attending this fantastically exciting event this morning. Over the last 6 months, Fran and I have talked to literally dozens of folks about running for the open seat. And as one by one, folks were refused to run or couldn't run because of family, because of work, for various reasons, it really came down to the fact that we were having difficulty trying to find someone to step forward. And I know Fran, with his wife Mary, wrestled with that quite a bit, and through a lot of prayer and a lot of discussion with other folks, made the decision to jump in and run. And as a former candidate, I can tell you that there are a lot of things that go into that decision with not only family and friends, but for Fran to decide that he wants to step forward and serve is truly beyond a labor of love. And he's doing it out of his heart. He's doing it out of his desire to serve, when even though it might not be the best time for him and his family, he still stepped up and said, I'm willing to run. And I'm very excited that all of you were able to join us this morning, because I truly believe that in November we're looking at the next state legislator from Rochester. Folks, Fran Bradley.
Service to humanity is the best work of life. It's on the flyer. I was a JC for a lot of years, recited that probably 1,000 times or more. But it really is at the heart of the decision that Mary and I made. I'm announcing today that I'm seeking the endorsement for House District 25B for the Minnesota House of Representatives. Just a little bit of an introduction. Mary and I have been married 52 wonderful years. We have 4 grown children. What's really important is we have 5 awesome grandchildren, the best in the world, except every grandparent thinks that theirs are the best in the world. But we really do, and we enjoy that. And we've been enjoying since the retirement 10 years ago that part of our life. Some things have happened that have changed. I had a father and a mother and a brother who passed away, which was part of my decision 10 years ago when I decided that it was time for me to retire, in addition to never ever expecting the legislature to be my forever career. It was never that kind of a driving force. But so we made the decision. I have been long involved in the community. Mary would probably tell you I absolutely don't know how to say no. So it gets me into lots and lots of places, whether it's community activities, on the board of the Hiawatha Homes, in my church, on the finance committee, and a host of other activities. It's been my way of life forever. Back in the JC days, I had the honor of being the state president at one point. I also had the honor of being named one of 10 outstanding young Minnesotans. And it I think is a tribute to whatever it is that's in my heart and soul that is willing to answer the call to service. In addition, my background technically is I'm an engineer by training. It's interesting for an engineer to be thrown into the health and human services field in the legislature as I was. But one of the things it meant was when people came to me and said, we have this wonderful program that we do. And I'd say, that's great. Well, what are you looking for outcomes? What are outcomes? Well, outcomes to me are not that we held 1,000 hands, but that we actually changed lives. And so what I'm all about in answering this call to service really is the opportunity. I guess I'd say one of my stressing points really is opportunity for all. I really believe that we need to open the door of the American dream to everybody. And what have we done in our society? We've closed the door for a lot of people. We built a welfare system that is more of a trap than it is an enabler. And I think because I've had the background of having been chair of Health and Human Services and having been involved in some of these agencies really, I have hopefully the skills and experience and knowledge to help retransform that. When I was in the legislature, we did welfare reform. And I thought we moved things in the right direction. We began to put time limits. We began to put work requirements. Most of that has dissolved. And it is dissolved, it's hurting the people that we're supposedly helping more than it's hurting the taxpayer. It's hurting the taxpayer too. but what a terrible thing to do to people. So that's one of my focuses. I happen to have become acquainted when I was in the legislature of a program called Tasks Unlimited. Because even though I believe 100% in helping those who can't help themselves, I also believe we should never diminish the value of people and what they can do. And this Tasks Unlimited takes people who've been in very serious mental health issues and puts them into a business. It's a business that cleans industrial sites. And people who were hospitalized, who were sort of given up on, move into what they call lodges. They're kind of 4-person group homes, and actually work. And work is a therapy. Work is good for them. And work is good, by the way, for able-bodied people who are on welfare. I often think when I see a panhandler, the first thing I should do really is hand them a card saying, hey, there's a lot of signs out there, work available. So that's one of my focuses. The other focus is healthcare. It's worse than it was a dozen years ago when I was in the legislature. We have spent in Minnesota $300 million on a thing called MNsure, a web-based system that after 3 years and $300 million still doesn't work. I was up in the Capitol just a few days ago and spoke with the current chairman of Health and Human Services, and he has been out in the communities talking to people, and he said, you'd be amazed. Parking lots fill up with people who have horror stories about their attempts to use MNsure to get insured. So what a terrible thing. I think it's time to get rid of MNsure. There's no business alive that would spend $300 million knowing you're going to spend more on a system that doesn't work. There's better alternatives, even if we have to go on the national system. I also think, by the way, that we could get rid of Minnesota Care and save Minnesotans about $300 million on a provider tax. Anyway, point is, another focus of mine with my background expertise is the whole field of healthcare. I go into this thing realistic, folks. There is no guarantee. I know some people are excited and they're already talking about Fran Bradley in the legislature. I know that's not automatic. I know that I will need your help. I will need the help of many good people in order for me to have a shot to win. I will work hard, but I will also be honest with you. 30 years ago, I knocked every door and I wouldn't give up. Even if a person said they're a Democrat, I'd say, just a minute, you may still want to vote for me. I probably have a different level of science involved in a campaign today than I had 30 years ago. But I still think if you look at the profile of what I am, and if I were being objective looking at a candidate, I think I have the profile to serve effectively, but I also believe I have the profile to win. But it's not automatic. So I'm here today to announce my intention, but also to ask for your support, your involvement, your contributions, and finally, important to me, your prayers. God bless. Any other questions?
Yeah, Fran, I got a couple of questions if you don't mind.
Absolutely.
So when you got out of the legislature, like in 2006, I think, or 2007, you told the interviewer that you got out because of family reasons. Have things changed now for you that you decided to run again this time?
Yeah, they really have changed. I mentioned briefly, at the time that I left the legislature, I had a father in failing health, I had a mother in failing health, I had a brother in failing health, and I wanted to be able to be there for them. Let me tell you that I was there to hold Mom's hand. I was there to hold Bob's hand, but they're gone. And they're in heaven, and I think they'll be cheering for me. So there has been a change, yes.
Your brother had some serious health problems too, and I know that you've been kind of a champion for people with disability and stuff like that. Is that one of your focuses going into the legislature this time as well?
Absolutely, yeah. Among those, I probably should have added that third one before, because I have not lost my passion. I'm a board member at Hiawatha Homes. I'm adopted by one of the group homes. I go visit them as often as I can, bring in chocolates because I love chocolates. And I feel very comfortable among people with special needs. My latest column was about very special people, and I meant that as a tribute to people who have disabilities, and, by the way, to those who serve them. Because whether they're family members or people whose careers are in that field, I have all the respect in the world. As I said, I absolutely believe that we need as a society to help people who cannot help themselves. However, we should never devalue, because my grandson, who's 19 years old and has muscular dystrophy, still has abilities, and we celebrate his abilities.
Very good. Maybe one other question, maybe others people want to ask some questions, but with the legislative cycle as it is right now under Governor Dayton, what do you suppose are your top 3 priorities going into the legislature this time if you're elected?
Well, the right now, of course, I won't necessarily comment on what's going on in the current legislature. I think there's a wide divide about the old spend and tax routines of the Democrats versus let's be rational. Let's apply, for example, for transportation where we do need to invest. Let's allocate some of the surplus, if you will, so that we can take care of our roads and bridges. And I think it's a very smart move. On the other hand, I just say raise gas taxes. Just the old-fashioned answer that's worn out. And we've gone deep enough, in my opinion, into the taxpayers. I think that's another priority for me, frankly, is that it's time to respect the taxpayer, that it's time to make decisions that respect that we have dug very deeply, and maybe it's time to live within our means. So those would be among. Now, I indicated going into, if I'm elected, that I would focus on health care, that I would focus on welfare, and I would add that I would focus on respect for the taxpayer.
Very good.
Any other questions?
Well, thank you all again for taking times out of your busy days. You aren't done yet. You will have other opportunities to show your support. Thank you.
Fran Bradley, not George.